at this point, I feel like it's almost a rite of passage to have had your own take on a Toa Metru mock. And while I think that this is a pretty decent looking one, the rabbit hole that this sent me down, I think, is quite unique and sets this set apart from some of the other ones out there. You see, when I was designing this, ultimately what I was just trying to do, because the build is still pretty similar to the original Toa Vakama, rather, I still wanted to pay homage to that set, right? A good use of 3 colors here, balanced reasonably well to reflect the Turaga that came once before. But the problem I ran into after designing this, that I knew I was going to run into, was, what about the other characters? How do you make a character like Oniwa with a double socket that stands out? That doesn't exist. That's not right. That's tan. Okay. I was sent down a bit of a rabbit hole when I was making this piece, and it's one that I've been kind of going down for a while now, which I think kind of makes this unique. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. We're talking about kitbashing specifically, because that is not a 3D print. It is not a resin cast. These were once original Bionicle or Lego pieces, for that matter, which have been sort of surgically extracted and repurposed. Now, granted, no parts were really harmed in the making of this video. These parts were already broken, but as a real Bionicle fan, I guess, I just can't find a way to throw away my broken parts, and so I had these in my collection just floating around with axle holes that had no end. But this, I think, was a pretty good use of. This is something I've actually wanted to try for a while, but I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to do it, because you can't just like super glue these pieces together. I mean, I've tried it in the past, but super glue is, well, strong, also notoriously brittle. However, when I was learning about resin casting, there was a bit of a development that I had also learned about that I sort of filed away in the back of my mind. And that had to do with things that you could mix with superglue to change its properties, notably household things. And in this case, a household thing known as baking soda, which I think most people have. So not only can you use something inexpensive like superglue, which you can often buy for like $1 for multiple of these tubes, and really you don't even need to use that much. Baking soda is something I think in most people's cabinets. And with something like that and an X-Acto knife, this is actually fairly easy to do, though granted does take a little bit of effort, a little bit of time, and also obviously you're messing with a knife, so some risk. But I do think it's kind of interesting, because I thought to myself, okay, if this can go together, it can hold up well enough to at least take, you know, some force, right? Now, this isn't the sockets that are broken. I mean, one of the sockets has a hairline crack in it, but I can live with that, right? This was just grafting 2 sockets where the axle itself had broken apart. But can it hold together a broken socket? Did I find a cure for broken sockets? I have not tested this, and I don't believe that I have. This still has some issues. I'll talk about those in a moment. But what I did to test this first, as anyone should do, I ran a few tests. I went through some of the variables, created a control, if you will. Not exactly. These tests were not exactly scientific, but I took a piece like this here, which I have many of inexplicably in my collection where the axle is cracked on them, notably fairly new ones as well. Don't ask me why that's the case, but with those cracks, I decided, okay, I know what I'm doing with this. So I took an axle, I inserted it into the axle hole so that that crack would spread apart just a little bit, and I dipped it in a little bit of baking soda just to get it inside of that crack. With the crack still open, I put just the tiniest bit of super glue directly over the entire line of that, pull out that axle, wipe away the excess super glue, and then squeeze those 2 halves together. Just put a little pressure on it so that it bonds hopefully better, right? And it worked out reasonably well. In fact, it worked out so well that I already tried to make this video once, and this happened. When I was testing the piece, I inserted this piece right here, and I put a socket on it so I had something to grab onto to torque it. And the first thing that I did when I twisted it was I broke the socket. Literally, the axle on this sheared completely, became 2 halves. It had decided it was going to pay an homage to the sockets that I had grafted together earlier in the day. But what I found so fascinating about this was the fact that the socket itself broke before this did. And then when this finally broke, it broke in a new location, not where the super glue was, not where the mix was, rather. which I found really fascinating. Now, you'll note that that plastic is missing entirely, and I think that the reason for this is ultimately because when that plastic broke in a new location, it allowed the piece to then flex, which again, super glue is not terribly good at handling that, and even with the baking soda, I was not expecting it to somehow become flexible. I don't know, maybe in different ratios it gains different properties, and obviously there are gel super glues and other proprietary mixtures that might add a bit of flex, but ultimately I knew that this probably wasn't going to be the case here, and it's why I'm hesitant to use it on sockets, but hell, I'll try, right? However, the fact that this broke made me think, okay, I'm going to take that piece then, now 2 pieces, right? And I will dip it into the baking soda, right? Insert the axle inside of the axle hole once those 2 pieces are dry, because I put them together beforehand. And it actually holds up really well. In fact, remarkably well. I was expecting this to not have as much clutch power as an original socket, but I could not tell you the difference here between the clutch power of this broken axle, which had all 4 connections. Note, there are only 4 connections between this piece, which is why it already breaks notoriously anyway. But 4 connections here were broken, and now they're all holding up just fine and with a good amount of clutch to boot. So, of course, like I said, I took another axle that was cracked, another lift arm that was cracked, and I wanted to show this on camera. Note that axle is inside of that axle hole. The crack is not going to show up on camera, at least I don't think it will. It might catch a little bit of the glare. You can kind of see it. But outside of that, I then wanted to twist this piece. And I want you to note that that is a 90-degree twist. 90 degrees in both directions that I twisted that axle. And it didn't break. That's pretty good. This is the first time this happened, I want to mention. Because again, the first time I did this, it did break, but it broke in a new location. And honestly, I could not tell you how far I even twisted it because I was shocked with just how well it was holding up. I wasn't really paying attention to the distance I was going. But that didn't break. And that is surprising to me. Did it break? Finally, yeah. Now it breaks. That close to that piece. Obviously, the further the axle is away from the piece, the more it's able to twist along the length of it, right? So I had to get pretty close to it in order to make it break. That shocks me. That is much stronger than I would have expected. And it's definitely stronger than I would have expected from my previous tests with superglue. One of the other things I did with this one, when I had originally tested this, was I also put it in the freezer, because in the past I had learned that you can actually insert a piece with super glue on it into the freezer, and it sort of slows the curing process of the super glue itself, but it does typically. This is just something I read up on, so whether or not it's true I don't know, but it does seem to help with certain things. It does make it stronger. So I figure, okay, if the freezer makes it stronger, the baking soda makes it stronger, maybe both make it even stronger, right? Sort of compound each other. I don't know if that's the case. And again, there's no way for sure for me to know if the freezer thing made this weaker, made it stronger, didn't have an effect on all. It was only in there for about 30 minutes or so. But the fact that it was able to hold up as well as it was is impressive to me. And the fact that not only have I been able to use this piece, I've actually disconnected it from here more than once on both sides, and it still holds up pretty well. So if you can deal with some hairlines, or if you're better than me at cutting those pieces and getting a cleaner connection there, I think you will find some use out of something like this. If nothing else, it gives new life to these double sockets here. And if I take something like this 15 length socket, this is just here to add a straight edge so I can cut a straight line through it, which still doesn't work perfectly. You have to do some other things. I'll talk about that in a moment. But I can make 13 of them out of this piece. The end caps are the only pieces that are lost in the making of this. So I can make 13 double sockets by just donating one of these lift arms here. And that's pretty impressive. But it does mean I also have to donate 2 of these sockets per double socket that I make. So using broken sockets, yeah, you get a lot more life out of them. If you use non-broken sockets, well, then it's up to you, right? If you want to sacrifice part, it's your part. Don't let anybody tell you can't do that, right? But the fact that this works, I think, is impressive. And think about this for a second. Old purple, that's an option. Dark turquoise is an option. There are lift arms and sockets available in both of those colors. There are plenty of other colors as well. Black is obvious, I think. Mata colors like mata green, mata blue. Brown even. Although brown is a little more hesitant for me, if only because it's only available in one set, the Rockshi, and also because I've actually never had the axle hole on a brown socket break, which is interesting since, reddish brown is also notorious for breaking. Either way, fascinating. And the fact that this is something you can do so easily, it does take time, mind you. And it takes skill, I would say. If nothing else, you're using an X-Acto knife. That is something that can cut you quite easily. I use a flat blade on mine, and I bought these because, they're good for resin casting, so I got them super, super cheap. And I made a video on where I got them and everything as well. But even so, using something like this, especially on sockets, which I don't know if they are a different plastic, but I will say it was much easier to cut this lift arm than it was the socket. The socket was tremendously harder to cut. And I did spend a decent amount of time doing it. I think for both sockets, I spent probably about 20 minutes in total cutting that top off. And you don't cut it like, a sawing motion. You basically, I don't know how I want to show this on camera while being safe, right? But you basically take the piece and you put it down onto the lift arm and you just sort of rock it back and forth while applying downward pressure. It takes a lot of effort. It's going to hurt your hands, hurt your joints, especially because, I did this, I know from experience. But the fact that you get something so remarkably good out of it is fascinating. You can make it in orange, you can make it in tan, like I said. Old dark gray is an option, which is just a color that I'm nostalgic for, of course. And I didn't have to make any sockets for Nuju, which I know, blasphemy, I'm using a different mask here, although I kind of like it. He doesn't have a scope in his Taraga form, he has a scope here. That's pretty neat, right? So the fact that I can make and finish, rather, this lineup of characters, it's just, it makes me happy. Like, that's all I can really say, ultimately. It makes me happy. Because it's such a simple solution that gives life and brings life to old parts that were maybe cast aside or tossed in the bin, or that could have been tossed in the bin if not for this, I don't want to call it discovery. Like, people have known about the super glue baking soda thing for a while, and there's plenty of tests still to do. Are they good for broken sockets? I don't know, but I'll try it. Anyway, that's it for this one. Again, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe. It helps out the video and channel tremendously. And then, of course, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And I'm specifically curious about gluing pieces, because that's what this video is about, right? I have done this before to other pieces, not with the baking soda thing. This is the first time trying the baking soda thing. But polypropylene is an interesting plastic to work with, because when you have pieces like this mask here, for example, which is made of that polypropylene material, it doesn't like to stick to super glue very well. Yes, this is a modified version of the mask, don't worry, but I had a version that I literally cut up just like this one, and the reason I cut it up was because when I had gotten it at some point in my collection, the axle on it had sheared off, and the super glue didn't stick to it until I put it in the freezer, and then it stuck to it. It bonded very well. I still have that mask to this day. This is a recreation of that mask, and the reason I made it with the eye holes outside of the original one having already been broken, so it was useless at the point, was also because I wanted to use it on a Mari Matoran, which is also why I cut off those little cheek flaps, because they collide with the armor on those characters. And I think that this just looks really good. I like this for Nokama, probably better than her original mask, and I like this for Nuju because it doesn't have a scope, and it also means that I can then give Nuju Metru's mask to Salik, and then his mask has a scope, and Kopaka's has a scope from 2008, and they're on the same side. That just felt kind of good to me. I don't know. It's just me. Anyway, that's it for this one. Take care.